potential volcanic actions or all the natural disasters kind of basis, right? And also to identify whether this business is really real, that kind of stuff. We need all those information to reduce the risk, right? And therefore, people who come on board on our platform to contribute, they feel ease, right? They feel that, okay, when I contribute, the money really goes to them, right? And they really build the infrastructure, they really grow, and they really, grow those vegetables for food safety and security.
Yeah. We have a ambassadors program under our umbrella where the regional representatives, like for example, Masa, if you are going to be in Japan, right, and you could be our ambassador, right, and we say that from your side you have this maybe your Japanese melons are so expensive in Singapore, like the square ones,
so
right?
Good,
yeah, it's so delicious, right? So if you find that farmer for us, and we need to do our due diligence, we don't need to fly to Japan, to be honest. We did that for the pigs in Philippines when we went to when we flew to over and we got to know the farmer, and actually the farmer became our ambassador, right? Because as a result, right, he believes in our belief system, in our mantra of doing the validation for the food, like what Jeremy has mentioned, making sure that we are growing. And so Masa, you yourself could be that Japanese representative to say that, okay, guys, I've taken pictures of this on the farm, I've done this on this date, I've gone down 3 more times, in the same month to see how their operations are, video, everything. And that will be submitted to our in-house compliance team to make sure that when we onboard the projects, these are all legitimate projects. We're not talking about your fly-by-night projects, basically. There won't be opportunities like this to happen. It's very different from the crypto scene. In a way, you can always just do a startup. It's easy to say you want to do certain things, but what we are after specifically is proven existing business models that is already doing the business, which means to say if you say you are that rock melon square melon farmer, then you've got to make sure that I'm seeing that as your produce, and you are looking for to accelerate and grow even further for that matter. You cannot come to us and say that, oh, I've got this idea, I know that I'm going to do this and I can do this, basically. We won't. There's a very high chance that we'll reject that project because it's too high a risk for us to lose on that. Yeah. Right. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, Masa.
Definitely. It's pretty clear now. So, like talking about the traditional venture capitals in Web2 space, when investor or VCs invest to entrepreneur, they kind of provide the support after investment. Maybe it could be introducing a partnership to their network or anything like that. In this project we're talking about, after the investment has been done, what kind of would there be any additional support would anyone provide? Maybe can you share that part? Yeah.
So the offtake itself is definitely handled on both. It has to be a dual symbiotic relationship between the farmer and ourselves. And assuming the farmer doesn't have their offtakes, then we will search for within our network, the food network itself, in the specific country, or it could be an export, or it could be a Singapore market, it could be a Malaysia market, and we start calling our contacts to say that, hey, we've got, example, the Japanese melon again, right? So where can we go with this? And we'll start calling our supermarkets on our end and say, look, we're gonna have this opportunity and we can offtake maybe having 1 ton or 1 container load basically every month from Japan. That could be a start, and then we have to start to say that, okay, look, we've got the PO from these guys and we'll do that for you. So in a way, we are almost a full cycle in terms of our ecological aspect. And that's why we are incubating, and not just incubating, we're actually accelerating for them as well. So we do have that kind of support for the farmers in that aspect.
Yeah, then from the contributor perspective over there, right, when they contribute into the project, they get a portion of the sales or return, right? Say, for example, for the pig, it's about 20% return, right? Of course, other incentive in future, when we start off, maybe in the future, we have our own cryptocurrencies, we can airdrop some, right? If they are putting in a bit more in terms of contribution, we can even fly them to Philippines to look at the pig farm, enjoy the farm stay, homestay, that kind of environment. So there are many things that we can do, not just money, experience, right? Maybe we can even bring them into the metaverse, right? And tell them that, hey, go instead of flying over, now go and enjoy yourself in the metaverse and see how traditionally how pig is being raised, right? Because as we are going into the digital world, right? Things are getting more and more complicated. The easy life, the people do not know even how the chicken come from, how the fish. Everybody just see the fish fillet, but they do not know how does the real fish look like, that kind of stuff, right? So they do not. I mean, a lot of people take things for granted, right? Even including myself, right? So if we were to understand how the pig is grown, right? How tough the life is as a farmer, right? Then they start to appreciate, appreciate things, appreciate food, right? Then there'll be lesser food wastage, right? There'll be more and more responsible people around the world, right? And then there'll be more. Everybody will live more happily, right? Reduce carbon footprint and so forth, right? There's a lot of benefits from there, right? So the contributors, when they come in and they contribute to the project, they are actually contributing to a very good, I would say, it's more like a charity environment, giving back to society kind of perspective, helping these farmers to grow, helping them to ease their in terms of money, and they are able to produce those kind of food. And at the end of the day, if they are localized, say for example, our Japan, we do have say for example, we do onboard what Leslie had mentioned, the Japan melon farm, it can be it can be a return in one Japan melon, right? If they contribute, that kind of stuff, right? So like say for example, even for Singapore, when we tokenize container farm, they can even get the hydroponic vegetable right at their doorstep. We can even do that as well also, right? So the experience they are getting over there, right? And of course, we have all the Discord channel for them to continuously ask questions, have fun, learning about agriculture, learning about how metaverse can come into play, and so forth. Yeah. So all these things are all in process now. Yeah.
It sounds super exciting, this whole journey. And what's the roadmap? Maybe can I ask, maybe some of the Web3 fans might be asking you, what's the phase are you in right now, and what's coming up next? Yeah.
The good news is that we have already had our marketplace is already ready. So do take note that our platform has been around we started 3 years ago, to be honest, right? So during this time we have been building. We have not done any fundraising on our own for Food Starter. So what we have been focusing on is giving the value back to our farms or the projects that's on our on Food Starter itself. So for people who are, for JP Web3 fans who wants to be involved in this, there are two ways actually. One is actually being, contributing to our own space, which is Food Starter, right? Because now we are starting our equity raise basically, or having new opportunities that we are still. Okay, this is an early alpha. I'm gonna give. We're still in the midst of discussing of issuing our own tokens. We're still not fairly there yet, so don't take it upon us. We're just giving you this. Hold your horses. Give us the time. We'll do the tokens thingy out properly, all right? Just for the sake of including the crypto community and the Web3 space. And of course, more so is the projects. So for example, we have a vending machine project. Now, Japan is not new to vending machines, but it is new to Singapore and to Malaysia and to other countries that do not have the culture. So we cannot take that perspective of, oh, it's already been there, done that, and Japanese and culture has already had this whole street of or vending machine basically, right? But this is totally new in Singapore and other areas. It's only after COVID that we decided that, hey, we're going to use this as a form of distribution model for our farms. So imagine this, okay? So this is the roadmap that we hope to achieve. If we have 600 units deployed in Singapore itself, and we do have the assets already, basically, the farms that we onboard, for example, the vegetables that Jeremy has mentioned about, basically, these farms do not need to grow and sell individually to each person. They can deploy the vending machine in the well, it's not villages. I'm using the wrong word. In our HDB, flats basically, right, or the environment, the central township area. There could be several nodes of this distribution aspect for the vending machine, and people just need to go and collect. When you support the project, or for that matter. And so we're actually focusing our efforts on the vending machine at this point of time, which means if you plug in X amount of dollars for this, you're going to get a 2 years return for up to 20%. If I'm not mistaken, Jeremy, please correct me if I'm wrong.
That one is about 10%.
I'm sorry. For 2 years, right?
10% per year, so it's 20%.
So it's 20% for 2 years. Yeah. So you get back 120% at the end of 2 years, which is unheard of in a traditional market, right? So our target market is not the crypto. We don't want the crypto guys, because the crypto guys, they are flipping of NFTs will never be able to satisfy that greed of like 1 or 2x or 3x, minimally, right? Basically, we want very traditional, safe investors who wants to get into the space but don't know how to get into the space. Yet on the other hand, doing some sort of social good, right? And also making sure that they are supporting and getting some form of returns from the sales of produce. So every time when the farms keep selling, the NFT holders will get the rewards from the smart contract itself.
Yeah, correct. And another thing to add on is that the difference between the other NFTs and ours, again, I just want to repeat, is that we are backed by real people, real asset, real business. So most people who mint their tokens, say for example OpenSea, are mostly something that has no real asset behind, right? So in that sense, when somebody mints something on OpenSea, doesn't mean that they are able to get back any returns, right? It could be a needle in a haystack, right? A fish in an ocean, right? Because somebody have to just knock on the doorstep, right, to see, hey, oh, there's an image there, I don't know whether is it really backed by any asset, we do not know, right? But then over here in Food Starter, right, the what we're trying to do is that we are actually bringing real things, real products, and then tokenize them and allow people from all around the world to understand that through Web3 and NFT, we are able to help, in terms of food safety. Yeah.
Thanks, guys, Jeremy and Leslie. I mean, this isn't something that I see in Japan right now. It's very unique to me as well. So a lot of JP Web3 fans will probably find it very unique as well. So maybe you guys should visit Japan in the future, holding some events.
Sure.
Oh, for sure. Japan is one of the favorite places many Singaporeans want to go. Yeah.
Right. Sounds great. Okay, so going to a bit different topic. I've been asking this question to every Web3 founders and leaders in the globe, in the space. So what's the definition of Web3 to you, simply? There's a lot of talking going on in Web3. Can you maybe share what it's all about? Yeah.
I'll take this question. So for Web3 itself, we need to understand, first of all, the advent of what Web3 means in the first place, right? And so Web3 is, in short, a decentralized way of uniting the internet as a result. You may say Web2 is already doing it, right? Yeah. So, but hey, Web2 is just like that. But there's no interaction, right? There is only a one-way interaction, which is always your e-commerce platforms, where they allow users to see certain things, and then it's always a push information to you. So what you are reading on the internet all the time is content that's being pushed to you because of your preference, because of your thoughts and things like that. But what on the Web3 does basically, and it will be a combination of your VR, AR, experience and many forms of gamification that allows the experiential learning from or the experiential experience from the immersive experience from for users to go into an environment where, first of all, I'm interacting with this entity, right? And I'm also getting a two-way relationship, right? A two-way communication. Like, okay, I got this, and I want to ask this, and this is giving me in return, some form of information. And Web 2 previously is always all about submitting your credit card details from a payments perspective. You submit your credit card details, and the e-commerce platforms just take that information and go into it, and that's it. And then they send their products over. But in this case itself, there is an upgrade, right? So the immersive experience that I was talking to you guys about basically is going into a environment. For example, let's take the pig, right? For example, the pig farms, instead of just putting money into the farms and you can't see, right? You only get the reports and things like that. You can actually go into an environment where you actually rear the farms for real, rear the pigs for real. You can actually see the gamification for on that aspect, and you actually see the pigs actually growing in accordance to the time frame that is being set by the farmers. So the physical world is being brought into the digital world as a result. So the reason why you mentioned you have never seen this before is because we foresaw this 2 years ago. I told my co-founder that, look, NFTs is a huge thing that had just opened up a lot of adoption for, especially for the Web3 itself. And what happens is that at that point of time, where we realized that the methods that the digital NFT holders are doing, there's a lot of uncertainty because there's no real world physical assets. And so I wrote an article, a 10-page article on my other social platform in Singapore itself that gives you the classification of all the NFTs itself, basically. So, and this, where we are now, is actually at that phase where we're trying to move from the physical to the digital with a combination. That's why you have this term called digital, right? So imagine you have this farm that allows you to rear pigs, right? So think of your Tamagotchi, right? Yeah, and then you make it as real as it gets on a real world aspect, and it's actually giving you back some form of returns because you actually supported the project as such. It's always a two-way relationship than a one-way relationship. So your Web3 itself basically has created an environment where now businesses need to think and rethink how they want to engage the audience. Because you see the likes of LV coming into the Web3, you see the likes of Adidas and Nike and all the other brands are coming in. Even the banks are doing this as well. Why are they coming in? We have to ask ourselves. Because our next generation or two generation after this, basically, they may not even understand what a real farm is in the first place. I do not know, right? But it can be that visual, right? Basically, to that extent. So, Japan is very well known for its sci-fi stuff. So I do not need to go down that path. You guys probably have thought really a lot in terms of that. So imagine Ready Player One. I think that will be the best example for what a Web3 would be, basically. Yeah. So.
Thank you, Leslie. That was very clear from your voice. Yeah, thanks a lot for your sharing that. So, I was in Singapore until 2019. I met Jeremy back then, 2018. Yeah. What's the current trends of Web3 back in Singapore? Because you guys are from Singapore, I would like to ask you about the Singapore Web3 trend right now. Yeah.
So in terms of the trend in Singapore itself, there are a lot of companies that's exploring the Web3 metaverses that has been set up in Singapore as well. So it's quite interesting in terms of the space. And every time when there's an event, there's quite a lot of interest on the ground in the events. It's always, now that we have opened up, it's always a lot. The last event I went to was about 100 over people, and 100 over people in Singapore, just to put in context, is a lot of people. just to help you understand, it's just an event. It's not even a conference, and people are just understanding it. All walks of life are coming into it. So on my social feeds, I'm getting it. I'm seeing on LinkedIn, like a lot of these kind of things. The schools are also asking how to get into metaverses. So I've been invited by a few schools to actually come in to give a talk on it as well. So it's buzzing basically for Web3. Yeah.
Right. Got it. Thanks. So this content, a lot of Japanese will see this content. And for me, you guys are the first Singapore founders for Web3 space. I'm super excited for showing this content. Yeah. Do you have any last comment to those Japanese, especially for Web3 space? Can you maybe leave the last message from you guys? Yeah.
Jeremy, you want to go first?
Last comments for Web3 fans in Japan. Definitely, I would say this is the in thing, the trend thing. It's going to impact the whole world, right? In the internet space, your Internet of Things, right? There's a lot of things going to happen over there. Metaverse, experiential learning, and also many things, right? So even behavior engagement, right? Decentral data, so many things are going to happen, especially Internet of Things, right? On the Web3 space, right? So we need to move, right? And things are coming in. We need to move fast, as well as we need to do it correctly, right? So that is the part where we are very excited. And if we have Japanese friends coming to ask us questions or get interested, we are very happy to share as much as we can. And we are very excited to go Japan. And if there's any Japanese friends who would like to come over to Singapore, do let us know as well, right? We can always meet up and discuss more, about Web3 space. And we have a blockchain expert here, right, Leslie, to also share more about the Singapore environment in terms of Web3.
I've asked you many times not to call me an expert. There are many other experts around.
Yeah.
Just call me a pioneer in the space is fine. So I think for last words, there are many projects around, especially in the world itself. And I do believe that there are a lot of opportunities. Specifically, you could say this is the internet boom, the next big one, in the 1990s, basically. And I was too young basically back then to even understand that, don't even have the budget or capital for it. But right now, I think in that third wave, of where we are, especially for Web3 itself, this is a good opportunity for most, most of your web JP Web3 fans, right? Basically, for them to actually see that, okay, that's how do we go about doing this. And so look for the founders. Now that you know us, you can always look us up on LinkedIn, right? We are there, or go through Masa, right? Web3, JP Web3 for your inquiries, and then he will contact us directly as a result. So be on the lookout, and then of course do your due diligence, okay, guys? You never put in what you cannot afford to lose. I think that's the golden rule. That's the disclaimer that everyone needs to do. There are always risks in any form of businesses. Whether it's digital or physical or phygital at this point of time. So it's good that you guys actually have this candid conversation today.
All right. Thanks, Jeremy, Leslie. So I'll put this project detail on this YouTube about their project, the URL and everything. And again, thanks guys for having this session, this show. I appreciate it. And let's keep in touch and update to JP Web3 fan. All right.
Thank you, Masa.
Thank you, Masa. Thank you.
And hello to all our Japanese friends over there.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Arigato. Arigato. Ohayo gozaimasu.
Thank you.
Thank you.